Previously on the Embracing the Journey podcast.
So do you accept and hope and tell your son it's okay that there's crying in the household?
I 100% accept that.
Why am I asking you that question?
It is okay because we are, as a black man growing up, we are not to show our emotions, period.
How are you letting your child know that it's okay to embrace that you're different, but you're you? How do you do that?
I try my darndest to make sure that Pierre understands that every decision that you make, it's two decisions, right? Every single decision is two decisions. So when you decide to do something, your time is going to that, but you're taking away from something else, right? And it's important to process and think about how everything's going to affect you, if you can, and understand that there's a cycle to all of the processes. And there's a cycle of emotions through every decision that you make. And it's okay to understand that cycle of of emotions. And so if you're feeling upset, don't ignore that. Don't ignore that. It doesn't mean that you're less masculine because you're upset. You're upset. No, it doesn't make you more masculine because you're upset. If you are feeling sad, it's okay to feel sad. If you want to cry, it is okay to cry. That doesn't make you less masculine, but you embrace that. You go through those emotions. Now, what is bad is if I would say, don't do that. You're a boy. You're a male. You're a man. You are not supposed to cry. That is what a woman is supposed to do. You don't supposed to have all these emotions. Then it becomes a hyper masculine situation, and it becomes negative. It becomes toxic. It becomes a toxic masculinity then. And I think that in households, when we say, oh, you shouldn't be doing that, boy shouldn't be crying, we create a sense of toxic masculinity. Sure. Now, it's okay that if you scrape yourself, now a guy may not cry. Now, if you're crying all the time, maybe we need to implore some masculinity to you. But if that's what you're doing for the first few times, it's okay to do that. It's how you apply it, and apply that masculinity, that it is whether or not it's toxic or not. So if he wants to go through those emotions or he feels it, embrace it. Right. Really embrace it. Go through those emotions.
Love that.
Otherwise, they're going to come out a different way.
For
you're
sure.
going to be upset. Maybe you're going to ditch class, right? Maybe you're going to hang out. Maybe you're going to have a fight in school today. Maybe you ain't going to do your homework.
Something.
Right? Something.
I want to ask you this, respectfully.
Mm-hmm.
You had your son when you were 18.
Woo.
And as honest as you are comfortable being, did you feel that your life was cut short?
When I had my son at 18, it was a lot of emotions that went through my head. I actually went through the process to unhave him, and to try to get his mom to get an abortion. So I actually paid for that, but she didn't get it. She told me she did because I didn't know what I wanted to do in my life. When I was 18, I wanted to be the president of the United States. I'm still not old enough to do it, but I am doing things to align me there if I choose when I get old enough.
Yeah,
Thank you. Thank you. And I had so many things going on that I was just like, you set me up. Because that wasn't, if you know the story, we'll talk about this off air, but this was a setup. This is like a one and done, not supposed to ever happen. I was like, I don't know what happened. And I just thought that she was trying to capture part of my life, right, and trying to limit me because she saw the potential that I was working toward achieving. And so at first I did feel like my life was cut short. And then when he was acting up, I felt like, oh, no, my life is definitely cut short. I ain't got to do this. And there were times when I was just like, this is so difficult. I understand why men walk away from their children.
Really?
Yes. because we are not equipped to emotionally be strong enough to handle and process all of this. And when I say men, I mean black men that I knew and grew up around. Anybody in my neighborhood, so that was all men, right? And so I understood that, but I said, "Oh, I can't be that now because I'm a rebel, right? And I'm a competitive person, so I challenge myself." Well, my dad walked away, so when I was this old and I got this age of 18 or whatever, and then I found him and then a couple years later I introduced my son. So I have to at least go through that process so that I can experience that. So after he's legally of age, if he's not doing what he needs to do in order to sustain him, then either there's a biological incapacitation that's there, or I need to reflect back on what it was that I done, because I am literally consciously daily making that effort because I've challenged myself because my father wasn't there. Right. So no matter how hard it gets, he got into 21 before he got into 21 before I say, look, I think I really messed up.
Right.
Yeah,
but you're seeing it through though.
Yeah, I'm seeing it through. Yeah, I'm definitely seeing it through. I so much so that I have custody of him. Yeah, he lives with me. He goes to school with me. I am his sole parent contact on emergency forms. He has to call me. He just started recent visitation with his mom and things of that nature. But his location is on, and they have to coordinate and communicate with me. And once that changes, it is what it is. But yeah, we have a level and a system of expectation. My goal, and he'll tell you to this day, that I inspect what I expect.
I love that.
And that I'm understanding, I'm open, and I'm also compassionate. So I understand, but I don't understand if you fail to communicate because you chose not to. Now, if you don't know how, then there should have been an attempt made, right? And you just failed at it. But if you fail not to communicate, then it's a problem for me. That's when all else calls out the window, and I am then identifying with said stigma of an angry black person.
Unstoppable. What makes you different makes you great.
Embrace your punch.
Man, that resonates. But let me ask you this. How did your mom respond
to having a child?
Yeah.
Ooh. Well, my mom, I'm pretty sure she had mixed emotions. She also grew up in a single parent household.
How old was she when her first child came?
Wow. My mom was, oh, wow. Maybe it's generational.
Hey.
No, think about it. I ain't telling y'all. She might have been 18. Yeah, she was 18.
Okay.
Or turning 19. Yeah.
When you said she had mixed emotions, were her emotions mixed because she knew how hard it was?
I think it was more so mixed because she knew the potential that I had, right? So in school, I was always on the honor roll. I had straight A's. I got all the scholarships. I was in every club, debate, know your heritage, decathlons, whatever, spelling. Literally, if it had school or education in it, I was a part of it. I left out the house at 5 a.m. in the morning, caught the train. I didn't get home, and I started to get dropped off from teachers because it was like 8:30 at night. So, I would catch the train to school at 5 a.m. and get back at 8. But I think she was more so confused and upset, or probably disturbed. It's really hard to describe it because she saw the potential that I had. So if you know how you have I guess you wouldn't know, but in history, parents can identify children. They're like, they don't have favorite children, but they got kids that are like, all right, this person did that. I know they did that.
Yeah.
This person could do this. And I think that I was the child that had all of this potential.
Right.
And now you have a child. So life is hard. And it was 5 of us.
Wow.
In a 3-bedroom apartment. And my
Single
grandpa
parent.
and grandmother lived in the same apartment.
Okay.
Yeah. So
that's a lot.
Yeah.
That's a lot to take in. I want to ask you this question as we wrap up. How old are you?
I'm 34 years old.
And I'm older than you, man.
Told you I wasn't old enough to be the president.
If you look back 10 years at 24, what would you tell yourself, knowing what you know right now, to your younger self?
Oh, my goodness. If I could talk to my 24-year-old self, I'd say, look, there's no need to spend that money that you had from busting your butt working as a store manager as a bakery owner and operator, as a deli clerk, and having like literally 5 jobs around the clock, there's no need to spend that money on those things that you think that they are need to spend it on. Just invest a little bit of it. That's it. And I think that it would afford me to have provided more experiences that I would think that I would like to provide for my son, that I would need finances for, just because I was working a lot. Yeah, I was working a lot. And then that would in turn make everything better, because
Right.
I think there's some experiences that I would like him to experience, which we can still do, right? But at those integral times of latency, when 5 to 8, where where he's at Disney World and nobody understands why we just flew first class to Disney World, so that he can reflect back to that and understand value and appreciate those bonding times. I would have done that 10 years ago.
I love that. I love that. How can people get a hold of you? How can people reach out? How can people connect?
Oh yeah, man, I am available. I'm on all social media platforms at Chef Blaque. That's ChefBlaque. They could go on my Facebook. They can find me on TikTok. They could Google me. They can visit the website blackrosepastries.com. If they're in the Northwest Indiana area, feel free to stop at Steel City Bakery. Or if you want to get to know me without speaking to me, then you can watch Netflix Sugar Rush, Frosted Fashion. You can watch Food Network seasons 1 of The Big Bake, or seasons 3 of The Big Bake, Buddy versus Duff season 3, as I'm a judge on there. You can watch Disney Plus, Foodtastic, Avengers. You could also watch me on Discovery Plus, Avengers episode, and Discovery Plus Cake-alikes. Or if you don't have cable and you have like the Cooking Channel or like Antenna TV, you can watch me on like the Jam, WCIU, or the Cooking Channel on Bake It Till You Make It.
Love it. Love it.
Thank you.
Again, we are in LaPorte, Indiana on our first on the road episode of Embracing the Journey podcast. We have Maurice, Chef Blaque. I want to thank you guys all for tuning in today, and we hope to see you guys soon. That's a wrap.